Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Indigo Diamond here with another video here to talk about the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 14. It was the reunion today, so, well, not today, but we'll get into that. Before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and yeah, tell me down below, who are you rooting for? I think my three people to win are Lady Camden, Willow, or Angeria. I think they're my three. So we'll see what happens. I won't be mad, no matter who wins. But I think they're my three that I'm rooting for. So reunion happened. This is the first time we've actually had all the queens together again in one location since season 11. Because if you think about it, season 12, they had the we had the start of the pandemic, so they had to all go via that little chat. And then season 13, again, they still had to have the little chat like together, but the finalists were together backstage getting ready to film the finale. They were on the stage of RuPaul's Drag Race Live over in Las Vegas. It was nice to have them in all back together for a reunion, I think. Definitely felt a bit weird not having all the queens back together again for the previous couple of seasons, but I completely understand why. It was also nice for them to be able to use a space that they've already got that's Drag Race related. You know, they didn't have to really do a lot to it. It's already like themed like the workroom and stuff like that. You know, you got to use what you got. So there wasn't a whole lot of drama in this. They kind of went through a couple of the clashes that happened on the show. So you had like Maddy and Jasmine, you know, kind of, you know, they were like, you know, it was heat of the moment sort of thing, you know, but, you know, it just seemed like miscommunication. You had the bit with Lady Camden and Bosco talking about, obviously, the Moulin Rouge. That was, again, just really boils down to it's competition, a lot of pressures happening at the same time, and they also really want to prove what they can do is what it boils down to a lot. The biggest drama really was between Daya, Betty and Jasmine. That was, you know, and I do get it because, you know, Daya really did seem to keep going for Jasmine in the episodes they were there together, and it really did seem like she was just like, I don't like you, please shut up. As I said in videos before though, for me, I think I was just like, you know, it's clear that it's because she's in the competition setting, you know, and I was like, I don't think that's how she acts outside of the competition. You know, I'm sure that's not what she's like in real life. It's just pressure of being in Drag Race. You know, she had gone home first, and you know, then she came back, so every week she's kind of like, oh god, you know, what happens if I end up in the bottom again? So, you know, it's one of those things, like the queens did kind of speak out in defense of both of the queens that were involved, and I think that's an important thing to note because Daya was getting a lot well, it had been mentioned that Daya had been getting a lot of death threats, a lot of hate, and it's like, well, it's a TV show. You know, I didn't like how Daya was acting a lot on the TV show, but I can think of it in the way of it is a TV show. I'm sure that's not how she acts in real life. You know, I will voice my opinion on my videos that I don't like the way she's acting, but I will also voice the fact that I'm sure that's not what she's like in real life, and it's probably just because she's on Drag Race, it's a pressure cooker. You know, I have said multiple times that, you know, she doesn't deserve to get sent hate, she doesn't deserve to get death threats sent to her. I mean, of course she doesn't. It's a TV show, and, you know, it's probably not what she's like outside of Drag Race at all, so you know, you've got that aspect, but at the same time, it wasn't fair that Jasmine was having to deal with that on a daily basis. As like, you know, and then Jorgeous did get lumped in with it a couple of times as well when Daya was going off about stuff. So, you know, what Daya did wasn't necessarily right, but what she's been getting because of that isn't right either. So, You know, it is that thing. They did seem to kind of work it out in the reunion. You know, Jasmine had said that she'd not heard from Daya at all, or anything like that. And then at one point, Daya was like, oh, I did try to call you at one point, and guess who didn't answer? You. But by the end of it, they did seem that they were at least kind of worked through the issue. They were kind of like, well, it has happened, put it to bed now. We understand that it was kind of like because of the pressure cooker of it being on Drag Race, and Daya did actually say a really nice thing. She was like, look, families fight, real sisters do fight and have arguments, but you are all my sisters, if you do ever need anything, my phone is always on, call me, sort of thing. And I did really appreciate that, and it does show a lot of growth for Daya. Because, I mean, what you've also got to remember is this was filmed, like, last year. Like, Drag Race is usually filmed, like, a year before it airs. So, people can grow a lot in that time. And also, watching yourself back, you can maybe see things in a slightly different way than you felt them at the time. Because, like Daya said, she's like, I stand by my feelings. My feelings were valid. I was voicing my opinions. The things that I don't stand by is how I said it. And that's the thing. It is a massive thing to be able to say things in a certain way. It is very difficult to get that. When you have thoughts, you've got to kind of almost take a step back before you say it to kind of go, right, okay, is this going to offend someone? Is this going to be helpful to the person if I say it this way, or do I need to think about how I say it? Because voicing your opinion's one thing, but it's if that opinion is to the detriment of someone else, it's kind of like, well, you need to say it in a particular way because you don't want to be detrimental to someone else, because that's not the point of it. Like, a lot of Betty's problems were she was frustrated because of, there were people there that, she maybe felt shouldn't have still been or something like that. But voicing those opinions, especially in the way she did, just wasn't helpful to any of the situation. And I think especially because of how she was voicing her opinions, that's what started a lot of the arguments and things like that. It's a difficult thing to deal with. It's like, I always get told at work I come across really quite well with how I say things. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I think about what I'm saying so much before I say it, because I don't want it to come across incorrectly. I want to make sure my point's coming across in the way I want it to. It's a difficult thing. And a lot of the time, that sort of thing just comes with life experience, really. You've got to be able to learn from your mistakes. And I do think Daya is kind of on that track. She definitely seems to be, from the reunion, maybe more aware of how she can come across when she's saying things. Life's all a learning experience. It is what it is. It's happened. They sorted it. End of. No death threats. No hate. Just, good drag. Moving on. Had a couple of apparently showmances going on. So Jorgeous and Orion Story were very flirty, apparently, like behind the scenes and stuff like that. They would hold hands and that. And then there's the Angeria Lady Camden kind of like chemistry going on. Apparently, like Ariana Grande slid into Angeria's DMs and was like, oh, when am I officiating the wedding between you and Lady Camden? I mean, they work really well together. They are very cute together, and they have that sort of flirtatious energy. Whether anything comes from it or not, the future will be able to tell us that. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, it does. That's between those two. They do make a very cute couple, and yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. There wasn't really a lot else that happened, like, reunion-wise, from my memory, which is terrible. I know they went a bit through sort of, like, the trans contestants, talking about how, obviously, like, Kornbread Willow and Bosco have come out since the show as being trans. Jasmine came out on the show as being trans, and then obviously we had Kerri on the show who was openly trans going into it. Talking about sort of like how everyone's feeling and things like that. Kerri being able to say about how thankful she is to be able to meet her fans and hear how much just her being on the show has been able to help them. Really nice to see. You know, I do think we definitely need more trans representations to be able to show these people in the world that it is perfectly okay to feel the way you do. There is nothing wrong with that, and you are perfectly valid in your feelings, and you should be loved, you know, no matter what in that sense. So it's nice that we've got 5 queens that are openly trans, 2 of which are in the finale, which is going to be showing next week technically because it's a Sunday, so I'm going to say next week. But yeah, it's, for me, it's one of those things. It's really nice to have, but there's still so much more work to do. You know, it's not something we can become complacent about. It's something we do still have to keep shining lights on, because there are so many people that I feel still have issues from other people about the fact that they are trans. And, you know, I mean, that we have plenty of problems with the LGBTQ plus community in general, internally, but also a lot externally. You know, homophobia, you know, there's also still so much racism and that in the world. So, you know, all stuff that we need to just keep being aware of. You know, we can't become complacent and just, you know, let things slide back, if that makes sense. So yeah, just, you know, support your friends, support your colleagues, support everyone. Just, yeah. So yeah, I mean, there wasn't really a lot else that happened. I mean, what was it? Maddy Morphosis said that RuPaul was heterophobic because he put 2 design challenges really close to each other. And I don't know, it's always one of those things. It was always kind of funny, I feel, when they put like multiple design challenges in a season. I mean, if we go back to season 3, they had loads, but again, it's Drag Race. You've just got to be prepared for expect the unexpected, and expect there might be more than one design challenge, and hope that you're good enough to get through it. So, yeah, it was an interesting reunion. Nice to have all the queens back together and be able to be together. I'm looking forward to seeing the finale, because it's going to be the first finale again since season 11 where we're able to have the live studio audience, or the live audience. You know, everyone's going to be able to be there, and yeah, it's gonna be weird because we've not had that for like a few years at this point because of the pandemic and everything. So yeah, we'll have to see how that happens and see who finally takes home the crown for season 14. And then what are we going to do until May 20th when the All Star 7 kicks off? I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. But make sure you tell me down below, who are you rooting for? Are you Team Willow, Team Angeria, Team Camden, Team Bosco, or Team Daya Betty? I'm pretty sure I didn't say Bosco twice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't. Yeah. But tell me down below, who are you rooting for? And while you're down there, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like the video, and I will see you lovely people next time. See ya!